We'll call this meeting to order, regular city council meeting, City of Dalhart, Monday, July 10th, 2023. First item on the agenda is the prayer. Gary, would you lead us in prayer, please?
Yes, let's pray. Father, we just thank you, Lord Jesus, for this day. We thank you, God, for the freedoms we enjoy. And Father, we just thank you for health today, God. Father, be with us in this meeting. Help us to make godly decisions tonight. Be with our conversation, Lord. And we give you all praise, honor, and glory. In the name of Jesus, we pray.
Please stand with me as we recite the pledge of the United States and Texas flags. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of
One day, under God.
First item on the agenda is a consent agenda consisting of minutes from the June 26th, 2023 regular city council meeting. All in favor? Any opposed? Item number one, public comments. Item number two, presentation of years of service awards to Alyssa Lemley, Norma Estrada, Nakamura, Albert Vasquez, and Robert Snyder.
Mayor, we're gonna do CISA first, and
Okay.
he has 1 year of service.
Okay. Thank you. The certificate is in recognition of your 1 year of service to the city of Dalhart. Greatly appreciate your commitment to the city.
Thank you. We have Norma Estrada for another year.
All right,
Thank you, ma'am.
thank you.
Yep. You won't bite.
Norma, this certificate is in recognition for your service to the city of Dalhart. We greatly appreciate your service. Thank you very much. Micah?
For 2 years.
Mike, on the behalf of the city of Dalhart, I present to you this certificate for years of service. Greatly appreciate your sacrifice.
Albert Vasquez for 2 years.
Okay, Albert?
So nervous.
Albert, on behalf of the city of Dalhart, I present to you this certificate of appreciation for 2 years service to
Thank you so
Dalhart.
much.
Appreciate your.
And then we save the big one for last, Robert Schneider for 22 years.
All right. Wow. 2 years is a long time.
Yeah.
It is. On behalf of the city of Dalhart, it's my honor to present to you the certificate of appreciation for your service to the city. Thank you very much. Three. Presentation via Zoom for NLC home service.
Start this off by introducing Emily once she gets on. So this is for Emily's with NLC Home Serve. And this is a company kind of leading on with your home warranty for water and sewer line protection.
Good evening. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Well, thank you all so much for having me and allowing me to join virtually this evening. Alfini. I represent the Service Leak Protection Program and also the National League of Cities Service Line Warranty Program by HomeServe. I always just like to start off with a quick little background on the company I actually work for. So HomeServe has been in business for around 19 years in the US. We currently have over 1,000 utility and municipal partners, and we serve over 4 million customers nationwide. We have strategic partnerships with both the National Rural Water Association and, of course, are endorsed by the National League of Cities. Our service line warranty program is the only program actually endorsed by the NLC. But I'd like to kind of talk about two of our main solutions that really help to solve some common problems that face both utilities and homeowners. So the Serve Line Leak Protection Program is designed to help cover the cost of a high water and or sewer bill if a customer experiences a leak. Then we have our service line warranty options, which are designed to cover what can be costly repairs to a resident's water line, sewer line, or in-home plumbing, whether or not they actually have a leak. The two options are technically standalone programs. They can be used completely separately, but when you combine them, they really kind of work hand in hand to kind of cover all of the bases. So after speaking with multiple utilities across the country, we generally hear the same thing over and over again. And when a resident does have an issue, usually their first call is to the city. You send someone out. Oftentimes you find the issues on the resident side, and not only is there not really much you can do, but the employee speaking with them ends up sort of being the bearer of bad news and letting them know that it is their responsibility. And not only that, that homeowners insurance policies generally don't cover things like that. We find, and I'm sure you're probably all pretty well aware too, that a lot of people don't really know or maybe don't fully understand things like that. I always admit, even though it's a little embarrassing, I myself fell into that category prior to working at HomeServe. At that point, I had owned my home for about 10 years. And I had an idea that I was responsible for the lines on my property, but I did not know which portion. And I really thought my homeowner's insurance policy would just cover something like that if I needed a repair. So I can only imagine if I had found out because I had some sort of major issue. But that's really why for both of these programs, the first and kind of most basic step is just simply customer education. The information that we provide or send out helps to make sure that customers are aware of what portion of their line is actually their responsibility. And that way, you know, even if no one enrolls into any of the coverage or accepts any of the coverage, the city can really say you've taken a proactive approach in making sure that people know what they're responsible for and then have some options available to them if they want them. I always kind of like to look at it from the customer's perspective whenever I try and explain these programs. So oftentimes a customer might not realize that they have a leak until they get a high bill in the mail. And then that's going to trigger, you know, an upset phone call to the utility. Why is my bill so high? What's going on? I didn't use the water. I can't pay this. It goes on. And then the person who answered the phone is spending who knows how much time taking on stress from that customer who's really just looking for help with their bill. This is really where the Serve Line Leak Protection Program comes in. So it's designed that it can enhance or replace any leak adjustment policy. It comes at no cost to the utility. It is completely customizable based on your needs, but to sort of simplify things, we've come up with some standardized policy options, which generally cost residents no more than $1 or $2 a month. Our standard policy includes up to one claim each year, covering up to $2,500 over 2 billing cycles. Because like I said, people might not know that they have that leak until they get the high bill. And we want to make sure we give them time to get a repair made, but still cover the cost or at least the majority of the cost of that leak. So once they show us proof that they've repaired whatever is causing the leak, even if it's something simple like a leaking faucet or a running toilet or a hot water tank, we then reimburse the utility directly for anything over that monthly bill. That way we're ensuring the bill or the money rather is actually going towards that water bill and the utility isn't affected financially by the loss. Then you are able to go ahead and adjust the customer's bill back down to their monthly average. So they're just paying what they're used to. And then we're actually also taking those calls for the claim. So your staff isn't being, distracted or bogged down from the extra work in dealing with those calls or any sort of, setting up payment plans, any of those sort of things. When a city does decide to put this particular program in place, you would actually select the coverage limits and guidelines. Then we put together an educational brochure for customers, which is sent out with the bill, usually at least 30 days prior to it launching. At that point, customers are free to contact us and cancel the coverage prior to anything ever actually being added into their bill. We also know that, again, a lot of customers are like me, and I do not read everything in my water bill every month. So there's a good chance I might miss that notice. For that reason, people are actually given a full 12 months once the program begins that they can contact us and cancel and ask for a full refund as long as they haven't filed a claim for a leak. Even beyond that, we always consider customers to be month to month in the leak protection program, so they can disenroll at any time or really re-enroll at any time if maybe they canceled early in and then changed their minds. But to give you an idea, usually around 97% of customers remain covered under the leak protection. There is also an option if you wanted to make the program mandatory across the board for everyone, you can do that as well. And there is a small discount for that. But really overall, it's sort of just a win-win for the water utility and customers. For customers, obviously, it's offering a little peace of mind. Most people can afford $1 or $2 a month, but maybe not an unexpected $500 or more. With this program in place, the cost of that unexpected water due to that leak would be covered with no deductibles, no surprise charges. Claims are processed seamlessly on a recorded line with our staff. And then the utility, of course, benefits by recapturing any lost revenue or bad debts for maybe payment plans, unpaid bills, things like that. And then it can also help to reduce the utility staff workload somewhat, as well as just kind of have a positive impact for, a utility board or council in that it helps with the auditing and budgeting processes, because with this in place, you have a better idea of what to expect year over year when it comes to that utility. And really with this, the bottom line is really just that the customer doesn't pay for the leak, utility doesn't pay for the loss. Now, on the other side of the coin, we do have the National League of Cities Service Line Warranty Program, which, like I said, really complements the leak protection just by covering the cost for a repair for a residential water line, sewer line, or in-home plumbing. Like the leak protection, the service line program comes at no cost to the city. In fact, with this, we actually offer a small incremental revenue back based on participation, but it does work a bit differently. This program is really pretty much turnkey. We handle everything from the marketing, billing, claims, customer service, really all of it. And again, with the program, the first step is really simply customer education. We only market this program by direct mail, and the letters that we send out start off educating your residents on what part of their line is actually their responsibility. And then, of course, we do offer the option of protection on those lines if they want it. We make it very clear that this is optional, is not mandatory, and that it's coming from an outside company and not from the city itself. So we do direct them to contact us with any questions or interest in the program. Now, the main ask from the city when it comes to this portion of the program is really to kind of help us to introduce it, to help us get the word out. And for that, we do ask for the use of the city logo on some of our marketing material, particularly the outer envelope. Really, it's just kind of what helps us get people to open our letters and read them. Of course, the more people who read them, the more who enroll, and then the better we're able to maintain our pricing and protection, and as well as build a local area contractor network up, because the more jobs we have for them, the more they'll want to work with us. Any marketing material, because of the use of that logo, requires approval from the city before it's ever sent out, and that would go for each individual campaign. Generally, we have 3 campaigns a year, so 3 times a year, we'd send the marketing material over for review and approval. The messaging is flexible, so we can always work with you on that. Once we receive an approval, we let you know when we'll mail, so you know right around the time the residents will get it in the mail. And then if for any reason the city does not want us to mail, we just don't. We'll revisit it for the next campaign. That's absolutely fine. You have full control over if and when we send those mailings out. When a resident does choose to enroll into any of these plans, they contact us. So they can do that either by filling out the form on the enrollment letter, calling into our call center, or going onto our website. And then we actually bill them directly. This is not something that the city is involved with the billing for. And of course, again, this program offers a little peace of mind. Basically, for a few dollars a month, they're transferring the risk of their lines to us. Then if they have an issue, whether it's, a broken, cracked, leaky pipe, a tree root penetration, clog, whatever it might be, they give us a call. We have US-based call centers available 24 hours a day, 365 days of the year. And then we work with local area contractors. When it comes to the selection of our contractors, we do let the city be as involved or uninvolved in that process as you'd like. But no matter what, we go through our own vetting procedures. So we make sure that they meet all state and local requirements. And then we try and go as far as running background checks and drug screenings, just because we want to try and make sure, that the people we work with are people residents are going to feel comfortable having come to their homes. As far as the contractors are concerned, they don't pay us anything to join our network. We don't tell them what they can charge. They can still charge us their standard rates. And we do cover costs if there's any long distance fees or anything like that. As far as coverage for the residents, they would have 3 completely separate, completely voluntary options for protection. So there's one for the external water line, one for the sewer line, and one for their in-home plumbing. The 2 external options, they work pretty much identically. So if someone enrolled into either of those, what they would get would be up to $8,500 of protection per incident. There are no service fees, no deductibles, no annual or lifetime limits, and we do not limit the number of claims they can file in a year. Third option is that in-home plumbing, and really just picks up where those 2 leave off. For that, we offer up to $3,000 of protection per incident for any water, sewer, or drain line inside the home. It does include something that might be embedded under a slab or a basement floor, as well as something simple like a clogged toilet. Again, no service fees, no deductibles, no annual or lifetime limits. Essentially, when it was put together, it was decided we didn't want, let's say, $100 service fee or something like that to stop somebody from giving us a call to get the issue taken care of as quickly as possible. And of course, people tend to be a lot more proactive when they don't have to search around for a contractor or worry about paying a ton out of pocket. Another feature of this program that I mentioned in the beginning is the incremental revenue that we offer. The way that works is we generally offer 50 cents per month per paid warranty. So if one homeowner gets all 3, the city is eligible for $1.50 a month. We generally pay that out once a year in the form of a royalty right around January. And of course, we don't tell you what to do with the revenue, but it is something that's optional. If you wanted to turn the revenue down for any reason, we basically just pass the savings to the homeowners who actually enroll by lowering the price of their protection by that 50 cents a month. So I know that was quite a bit of information talking about the different features of both of the programs separately, but what it kind of really comes down to is how well they do work together. So again, I like to look back at the customer perspective. Let's say a customer gets a high bill in the mail. If they have ServLine in place, they should have been provided with our number, but let's say they call the utility first anyway. The staff member gets to tell them, hey, you're in luck, this program's in place, and refer them over to us. We ask a few questions, make sure it qualifies for a claim, let them know to go ahead and have a repair made. We'll alert the utility so you know a claim's in process. And then once they show us proof of repair, which we're pretty flexible with, it can be something like a bill from a contractor all the way down to a receipt from a hardware store. Then we turn around and send a check over to the utility for anything above that customer's average monthly bill. That way you can adjust their bill back down. Happy customer. Similar when a resident has an issue with their water or sewer line, even if it's not a leak and they have one of the service line warranties, they make a call to us. We find them a contractor, send the contractor out, and then we pay the contractors directly. So no money's exchanging hands there. And again, we have a happy customer. With both, the customer saves some stress and time wondering if and how they're going to pay for the unexpected water, much less the repair. They don't have to spend time searching for a contractor. And they, of course, save money because now they're just paying that same bill they're used to, and the repair is covered for them. Now, of course, on the city side of things, having these programs in place can mean kind of a better customer experience, less complaints, less people showing up at council or board meetings or on social media with negative things to say. Repairs are done and guaranteed up to the utility standards in a more timely manner. And it can also help simplify some of the budgetary issues because having a standardized program set in place. There's just less risk from unknown or unexpected things that might come up due to normal aging infrastructure. Then obviously revenue can be used towards, improvements, low income assistance, offsetting rate increases, which again helps ensure, a positive customer experience and better experience for your staff, really. So as of today, we have over 1,000 partners across the US in both programs combined. That includes 48 currently in Texas. And so far we've saved residents there almost $26 million in coverage. Obviously, we would love to offer that back to your community as well. And I know that was a lot. I try to get through it as quickly as I can with all the information. Does anyone have any questions or thoughts so far?
I had a question about something that you mentioned. You said something about qualifies for your claims. What wouldn't qualify for a claim?
So there are two different plans. So if it's a leak policy, something that wouldn't qualify, which, like I said, it is customizable, so we can make certain things qualify that don't generally, but these would just be for a leak that is on the lateral lines or within the plumbing, in-home plumbing and drainage. It wouldn't generally include something like an irrigation line. Things like that can be added in. It just costs a little bit more. On the service line warranty side of things, again, depending on what sort of coverage they have, something that wouldn't be covered would be something like a third-party negligence or something like that. If someone was digging in the yard and hit their.
So like on a sewer line, if it's under concrete, would it pay for access to that or just the repair of the sewer line as well?
Nope, we pay for access to it and the basic repair to everything as well.
No deductible, I did hear you say, correct?
Correct. Yep, no deductible on any of them.
So this would be something that'd be put on the bill and then they'd have to call in to take it off, correct? Is that how I understood it?
So that's the confusing part, presenting both. So for the leak policy, yes, technically the leak policy is an insurance policy for the city. So that's something that would be put on the resident's bill and then you in turn would pay us for that. The service line or the repair side of things, those are completely and totally separate. Really with that, we're just asking for the use of the city logo on those mailings, but then we bill customers directly if they decide to enroll.
So it's two separate.
Yes.
And they can unenroll in the leak one, right?
Yes.
So you can opt out after, for lack of a better way of saying it, let's say this gets implemented in September, everyone gets it on their bill. Then if people call up and say, hey, I don't want this protection, then we can take it off, correct?
Yep, exactly. And if it's within the first 12 months, they can ask us for a refund for anything they've paid towards it. And as long as we haven't filed or paid out a claim for them for a leak, then we'll reimburse them.
And then the other one is separate to sign up for.
Yep.
So that's completely on the owner if they want to do that or not.
I have a question about the billing cycle then. So would a resident be required, or do you bill out on a 12-month cycle, quarterly, monthly? How do you bill that for the?
So for the leak policy, that's something that would be dependent on how you all bill. If you have a monthly billing cycle, then we're going to bill that monthly as well. On the repair side of things, residents have an option as to how they want to pay. They can pay monthly, they can pay semi-annually, annually. And with that, I do want to point out too, they're always considered month to month. So with both, they can enroll or disenroll at any time. But on the repair side, even if they, let's say, sign up for a full year, pay us for the full year, and then haven't filed a claim and they move or something like that and decide to cancel, they can, and we'll refund them for unused months.
Is there an option to not auto enroll the customer for the one like there is the other one? I just don't feel comfortable putting that on somebody's water bill. You know, even if we educate the public first, and then there's going to be somebody that didn't see it on Facebook or social media or on the city website that's going to, so the city's added $3 to my water bill. Is there an option to not do that?
I wish I could say there was. Unfortunately, with that, it just hasn't worked in the past. They've tried to roll it out. not enough people sign up to make the coverage worth it. Or there have also been cases where, worst case scenario, everyone's enrolled, someone's mad because they didn't know they were enrolled. They give us a call. If it's within the first 12 months, they get their money back. Worst case scenario on the other side of things, which has happened once or twice in some places where they tried it that way, was they thought everyone was enrolled. They weren't enrolled. Their neighbor tells them that they have leak protection. Then they call into the city, find out that they never actually enrolled into it. Now they're mad at the city because they have a $500 bill. But yeah, I wish I could say that there was a way to do it, but we just haven't been able to make that work.
So in that sample contract you sent over, it had something in there about a 10% discount if it was taken out as a line item and actually added into the base rate.
Yes, which that would make it mandatory for everyone then.
Any other questions? Emily?
Does council have to do, if they want to do one, do they have to do both, or can they choose to just do one?
They can absolutely do one. A lot of the time, to be completely honest, what happens is the program being an opt-out scares a lot of people. So a lot of the time cities will start with the service line warranty program, make sure that they trust us as a company, and then maybe down the line, look into the leak protection because, it is a bigger commitment to actually have anything go on your bill. So, and we understand that, but you can pick and choose one or the other.
And the service line one would be billed to the customer.
Yes.
Not through the city.
Right.
So even if we do not adopt that for the leak protection, can a customer say, I would like to go ahead and sign up for the leak protection?
Unfortunately, no, it's only available through the city's involvement in it.
I mean, I think for us to move forward, we would have to find out what the public would want. I think we'd have to have some city hall meetings to see what they would say. Because I don't think just throwing something on their bill would work out too well.
And if you just wanted to go with the line protection one, that's on the customer.
Right,
So you're offering that just to the customer.
right,
So they choose.
right. But then they wouldn't be offered the other one since the city's not gonna be involved.
Right, but to
So-
her point, it allows you then to get your feet wet and then see how the public reacts to that. And then you kind of get some feedback
Right.
in those cases as well.
And I'm guessing, Emily, you would be available for anything like that?
Absolutely.
If we had a city meeting, you would be available?
Yep.
Anything else for Emily? All right, Emily, thank you very much. Appreciate you. We will be getting back in touch with you for sure.
Perfect. I appreciate
Do
it.
you want
Thank
her
you.
to stay on
You want to stay for the,
for some of the
sure.
discussion and
Absolutely.
action items?
You want
just
to,
in
that's
case
fine.
you have-
Okay,
I'm happy to stay for questions.
all right. So then we'll move on to item number 4, discuss and or act on serve line leak protection program. Again, I'm not comfortable just putting that on
No.
our citizens' water bill without at least educating them on it. So.
Yep. I suggest we probably table that until we can get more or decide amongst ourselves to have more information out to the public.
Yeah, I guess, can we table it? Guess we'll need a motion.
You need a motion to table, and then the table lasts till the next time we meet.
Okay.
Probably need a little bit longer than that, so right?
Yeah.
Or do you want to?
Can we do it,
You can bring it back on the
Yeah, I
agenda
was gonna say
in
no.
August.
let's do that
You want
because our
future
24th meeting
August?
Crazy.
Already.
Yeah.
So we can bring that one back in August.
Okay.
Make a motion that we table this until August.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Item number 5, discuss and or act upon serve line utilities protection program.
So on this one, this is where you would be asking to the utilizing the city logos in order to be able to kick off the program.
Right, and then it goes out directly to the customer. And then the customer decides if they want to sign up or not, and then they get billed separately. It's not on the utility bill from the city.
I do not have a problem with utilizing the logo necessarily, but I don't know.
I just think until we get that information out, that we shouldn't move forward at all on it.
Wouldn't they? Well, no, that's not gonna be the same thing. It's not
It's
gonna
not the
be.
same, and they're two different.
I guess I'm thinking is that the time that we would be sending out something to the public, or are we just gonna wait on the meetings and then come back and?
I think we should wait and have the meeting and then come back and then we can present both to the public. And say, this is what we're talking about doing. How do y'all feel about these things? And then we can go from there. That way we have their input on it.
Any other discussion on item number 5?
Has there been nothing in the past similar to this?
Not that I'm aware of. Do you know, Wendy?
It's all been on the home. Seek it out.
I've paid a high water bill because I had a leak.
Had similar protection. And you just fill it, and then you call them, and I mean, they come and they
Yeah.
fix it, and
I
you.
mean, it sounds like a great program, Emily. I mean, it really does. I just think that we would like to have more information out to the citizens. That way, we're not just pushing this out and we get 1,000 angry calls on what's going on.
Definitely understand that. I should mention too, with the service line warranty side, the repair side, that's the one where it's not on the bill. They choose it if they want to, based on those letters that we would send out. If you do decide to work with us on that, we will offer like press releases, web banners, things like that to kind of help get the word about that as well, which obviously we wouldn't do that until you decided to work with us, but that does help get some of the word out with that.
That'd be great.
To clarify on that, they don't do that until we decide to move forward, though. I mean, they're not gonna do that unless we move forward.
Absolutely.
Again, make a motion that we table it till August.
Have a second?
I'll move.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Item number 6. Thank you, Emily. Thank you very much.
so much.
Appreciate your
Great
time.
night.
Yes, you too. Item number 6, discuss and or act upon the community development fund request from Keep Dalhart Beautiful.
Hey, everyone.
Hi, Yolanda.
This year we asked for money and got our allotment, but we kind of had sticker shock with the price of flowers this year. We also had acquired the 3 flower beds at 7th Street Park. The ladies that did it, the pedal pushers, didn't have enough members, kind of like Keep Dalhart Beautiful. So we took it on, and this year we planted a lot of flowers in those beds that had been kind of neglected. So we had an increase of almost $1,000 just in flowers this year. So we are asking for an additional 2,000 to help keep our money at a even pace. So whenever we start again in the spring with fertilizers and all the dirt and everything, that we can pay our local people, because we have charge accounts, but we don't like to, we get the bill and we try to pay it instead of waiting on a reimbursement. So we are asking for the extra 2,000 because we've got to, with the flowers at 87 South, we planted a lot for color, but we've got issues with the irrigation system. A lot of them have died, but because we're thinking that the system's working, but it's not, but in one area. So maybe that can be addressed also. So I try, between Lola and I, we try to go and water those, which they're pretty well established now because of the cool weather that we had and all the rain. But that is something we probably need to, if anything, try to get that done, because we've got one spot that's like a swamp. I think it's Mosquito Haven. And where we planted a lot of the flowers, it's really, really dry. I don't know if something's blocked or whatever. But if we could maybe have that allotment, and the area behind it also needs to be kind of cleaned up, because the Texas Department of Criminal Justice helped us a lot and cleaned it out and helped us get rid of old bushes and stuff. But a lot of that dirt and debris is still kind of back behind there where the dumpster is. So we're graciously asking for this extra money and we would appreciate it, but I know everybody's got a budget.
This comes out of the Community Development Fund, correct? Which there's
That's correct.
40 annually that we give out of that. We've given 12 for the fireworks, so we have 28 left. It's my opinion for the job that these ladies do. I don't think they're asking for too much by coming back for another 2.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Lana. Appreciate it.
Have a vote.
Yes.
I would make a motion that would approve the request from Keep Dalhart Beautiful for the 2,000.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Again, thank y'all very much. We appreciate y'all doing what you can to make our city look more appealing. It definitely helps. We appreciate it. Yeah, it's a tough job, I know. So thank y'all. Item number 7, discuss and or act upon the request from Dalhart Area Chamber of Commerce to close the streets for the News Channel 10 summer celebration.
Mayor and City Council, I come on behalf of the Dalhart Area Chamber of Commerce. News Channel 10 is coming July the 17th, I believe, for their summer celebration. They have asked that we close a couple of streets around the courthouse in anticipation of that. And I hope you have a map in your packet that shows where those street closures are. Don't ask me a whole lot of questions. I got this about an hour and a half ago, so I'll answer what I can, but that's not going to be very much. They have asked those streets to be closed starting at 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. So I've come before the city council to ask permission to close those streets in anticipation of News Channel 10 being here for their summer celebration.
There is a process, I think, through the police department. Is that correct?
Mhm.
When we want to do something like that. I don't see a problem with it. I think it's necessity. I'm sure if we're going to have a program like that.
I just need to work through Chief Hughes on that. Well,
Yes, sir.
next step be done so we can make sure and get it done properly.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So we'll need a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Motion to approve the request by Gary, second by Ginger. All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you, Zane.
Thank y'all.
Item number 8, discuss and or act upon approval of expenditures for architectural engineering services to Dalhart Economic Development Corporation for a neighborhood planning design.
I printed a
our agreement, if you want. It also has a map onto it. So as most of you are aware, we acquired 33 acres over there on Spirit Drive. And it's, it's just raw land. We would like to start moving forward and have architect and design come in and help us put together a shared residential and commercial plat for that property. And since it is a raw property and there are some issues, we wanted to do it correctly, have someone come in and give us a design to make it work and so forth. So what we're asking for is that you approve us the funding to do this because it's not on our previous budget and so forth. We're looking at this. This is the agreement that they've said, their proposed agreement. They're looking at, 26,000 for helping us just to start and to do the plat and so forth. And the plat would basically cover that 33 acres. It would be designed as a residential, then would there be a few commercial spots as well? And it would be a mixed residential to cover as much as we need. And then at that point, once we get the design, we would have to start moving forward and go through planning and zoning, but we can't go planning zoning until we've got it platted and so forth. So any questions?
This was the lowest bid, is that correct?
This was the lowest bid.
Okay.
If I may.
Property east of Spirit Trail.
Yes, if you look on your map, on the very back, it's all the way on the very back. You can see I gave you an overview that shows a triangle, then you can see it there on the road as well.
Dwayne, did you have a question?
Well, just a point, I think that needs to be addressed, it's not at that bid a turnkey.
Yes.
situation.
It is not a turnkey. This is an agreement. They've sent us to agreement there. You see the scope that they're looking at doing that. There are some clauses in there, it's inclusive of their other expenses. And it's not covering engineering for us to move forward. This is just so we can move forward and start working with them. So they can start a plat to see what we really need to do and to address. I was told several years ago, someone proposed a plat for that and they didn't address drainage. And that forced that plat to not be accepted. So we know there's some issues that we're going to have to address somewhere down the road. But to do that, we got to start at one point, and this is where our starting point is. Get an architect and design company to come in there and start looking where to go.
Would you expect this to be a budgeted item for 24? 23-24?
Well, I would like to start with it now,
And that,
but what we're looking for probably in 24, because we were only a few months. By the time they come up and do their work, we will be looking at budgeting for 24. And then in 24, I hope that they will have us what our engineering costs, what our other costs would be that we would have to start budgeting at that point.
so there's no expectation at this time to come back
Excuse me.
for the new fiscal year.
I would think at this point, once it's approved, we start with them. Any other expenditures over that would probably go into the 24 budget. I mean, once we get this approved and they start, we all know how engineers and architects work. We're moving to the end of our fiscal year fairly quickly. By the time we get our agreement signed, our contract signed, they actually start work. I don't see they would give us anything back, any budgeting or pricing, and probably even if it came in this fiscal year, it would be, August, September, which means we're at the end of the fiscal year. We'd have to plan that for next fiscal year.
So is this basically just to get preliminary zoning in place?
Not basically just to get it started, get a plat put together so we can address it. So then we can go to zoning. We can't even go to zoning right now until we get a plat and some design work done.
You might want to explain that it's going to be two different zones.
All right. Right. So what we're looking at is doing a residential, but then right along the corner and along the edge of 281, that we were looking at that, doing that as commercial. The reason that would be commercial, it's right on the road and so forth. And we have had some interest that somebody would like to move into that corner as a commercial, basically convenience store. And then behind that, it would be residential and mixed residential. And what we mean by mixed residential, it would be, a residential 1, 2, 3, it'd be mixed together. We're not wanting to limit it to one type. We want to be able to do multiple things there. And we've even talked when we first put this out, even some of the commercial may be a mixed commercial residential that, we may say, well, we may want to put commercial, but then above the commercial, we could still put residential. That's kind of a trend right now, but I'm not too sure that would be something that would go there or not. But we may look at putting that in the zoning in case that option became available.
Are they aware that there's going to be a new intermediate school built just north of that on the opposite side?
Who's aware?
The people that are going to do this plan.
Yes, they are aware of that. And that's part of this plat and why we need to get the plat done, which will lead to drainage and so forth, because otherwise some of this they may start falling into conflict. And that's why we want to do this a plat. Don't just jump out here and let's get it done. Let's get the architects and get the design people to understand what all this is coming into play.
And then if I remember correctly, the school board was gonna start proposing the new elementary school to be built with that intermediate, correct? They're supposed to connect together?
Down the road.
Yeah,
This intermediate is going to be built to where they can add.
that
It's going to
elementary
have
on
a
there
big
also.
enough cafeteria
Right,
and stuff.
so that's why I'm just wondering if we're gonna be coming in, there's only so much land right here that can be built for the school.
Well, the school owns, the school
Right, no, I
owns
get
that
that,
land, the
but I'm
city
just-
owns this land.
We-
Right. And that's across the street.
Right,
Yeah.
It's across the street and further up the road.
I don't think that's gonna be enough land for them to build personally, but
And as you move down into part of it, as you move directly across the street towards the, those apartments, that's where right now, all the drainage from that area, there's a collection pond there to help with drainage already there. And that's where some of this comes in. Some of our drainage is going to have to go into that because that's already been developed that way. And I think that's what stopped some of the development before is they wanted to push everything down to the highway and they're like, that's not going to work.
Well, either way, we have an issue with not having enough housing to address the population issues that we have here. So.
Yeah, yes. That's our whole thing. We're looking to try to expand, do something with our housing as we start looking for grants and so forth. We also have some other groups that would be interested in working with us to develop housing projects. It's not going to be a cost to us. That would help us open more moderate to low income housing here in our town. Just as you're aware, there's not a lot of land available to help develop some of these properties that we would like to develop. And this is where this would come into play.
What's my opinion, we sat on our hands long enough with this property. We need to, sooner the better, we can start making something happen.
And this is what we're looking at. We just want to do the steps that we need to do to get it done and do it properly. So it's not going to backfire or 2 years down the road. We found out we did something wrong. We're going to bring in the designers and the architects. They will look and they'll put a plan together for us to really look at the plat, look at what needs to be done as far as engineering so that we can move forward. And then we can go to zoning, planning and zoning and say, this is what's here. This is what will work and do the steps that we need to follow.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to entertain a motion with exception, please.
Go ahead.
Entertain the motion that we approve the expenditures for the EDC with the exception of that the EDC shows interest of the impact of the school districts on the drainage situation at hand,
Okay.
long term. Yeah,
I will pass that on to the designers and engineers. That's what we're looking at.
Is Park Hill doing school as well?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
I thought, have they chosen their engineers yet or their design companies yet? I don't know. Park Hill is doing this and Park Hill is, they're familiar with several other things in our community. That's what there's advantage once they put in the bid and they got the low bid. That's an advantage to us because they're familiar with our community. Some of Melissa will be leading this project. So, you know, she is here in town. She is with our school. Or she is here in town. She has kids in our school. So I think she was going to be aware of a lot of these things.
Mr. Mayor, I got a motion on the table.
I would second Dwayne's motion.
Motion by Dwayne, second by Ginger. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
Item number 9, discussion of future agenda items for council. Item number 10, comments from city manager and department heads.
We just hired a female that's getting ready to graduate an academy, and we've got another female that's already licensed, picked up an application today, so things are looking good.
We have 2 events next week. One, Zane mentioned that the chamber is taking the lead on, which is on next Monday, the 17th. Live broadcast on Channel 10 for summer celebration. And then the following Saturday, the 22nd, we are hosting the downtown summer jam. So we're gonna have, again, we'll have the streets blocked off for that. Stage set up in downtown. Shops will be open late that night. Food trucks, you know, bounce houses, all kinds of stuff for the kids. So it'll be a big event on Saturday as well.
Curtis, you got anything? Corbin?
Do want to kind of commend Curtis today, because of his quick thinking. Him and an employee had a problem this morning. Employee had some trouble breathing. Curtis got to the hospital. He was locked out of Amarillo. We'll be having open heart surgery tomorrow. He was in this, had a heart attack. Curtis was smart enough to get in the hospital. I'm going to take care of him. He did it first.
Yeah.
Good job, Curtis.
Thank you.
Especially for Monday morning, right?
There's nothing else.
Make a motion that we adjourn.
Mr. Chair.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you all very much.